This is the Brotherhood. Real talk, real growth, real connections for anyone ready to own their truth and heal their wounds. Whether you identify as a man, woman, or somewhere in between, this is a space to get honest, be vulnerable, and build strength together. Welcome back. I'm your host, Raul Peguero, and today's episode is a special one, man. I get the honor to have someone that I've known for a very, very long time. And before I introduce who this person is, before I mention his name, let me give you a little context on how I met this person, etc. Right? So this is back to high school days. For my 80 babies, you guys know that the 2000s was a different era when it came to high school, when it came to the things that we did in the streets for fun, taking the bus, the train, walking to school, whatever it is, it was totally different from what we see today, right? And I feel like that era is what molded us to be who we are, obviously with different types of mindset and the experiences that we've had growing up. But let me not get off topic. So, like I said, go back to high school days. So I met this person back in Theodore Roosevelt High, South Bronx, Fordham Road. If you know, you know. I met him through my boy, Ronnie, right? My boy, Ronnie, who I also met my freshman year in high school. Ronnie knew him, and we met in the lunchroom. And when we met in the lunchroom, it was like instantly becoming boys. Like, it was a brotherhood. Besides being Dominican, besides enjoying the Dominican, domino. Well, not just Dominicans play dominoes. You got Jamaicans that play dominoes. You got Puerto Ricans that play dominoes. Jamaicans especially, juegan como nosotros. Like, they play like us. But the introduction came through my boy Ronnie in the lunchroom. And they were playing dominoes on the table. And it's not like I've never seen the guys. I've seen them around before I was introduced to them. But the moment that I met the group, that there was another kid, I can mention names, it doesn't matter, Matumbo, Wilson, El Otro, and it was basically the baseball team that I met in the lunchroom that day. And I remember they were playing dominoes, and for me, being Dominican, growing up around that already, I fit in. So got introduced, we met each other. From there, it was instant brotherhood, right? It went from playing dominoes in the lunchroom, playing basketball at the gym, trying out for baseball, chilling outside, going to hooky parties, and all the good shit. You know what I'm saying? All the shit that we did back in the days, right? It became that, right? So then you graduate, life happens. We lost contact for years, right? I know my brother, I didn't have Facebook till recently, but I know my brother had all you guys, I don't want to say your name yet, but had all you guys on Facebook from the graduating class of 04 and 05. I know he had everybody on Facebook, and I know most of the people from Roosevelt still connected through that, right? So I didn't have Facebook till recently, which is how I started talking to my boy Ronnie again, and then we exchanged numbers. But when it came to this person, it was different. Years passed. I'm talking about, what's that? 20 years passed. 2015 was when we saw each other again. 2016, we saw each other again after all those years since we graduated. So that's about 11 years later, right? And we got reconnected in a Herbalife focus group meeting, and which we used to do on Mondays. And in the place that we did it in, we moved around. And the place that we did it in was in the Bronx and 3rd Avenue. And I remember I'm the one that always stood at the door to greet people in. And that day I had walked in to do my rounds, just walking around, making sure everything is good, sound check. All of that is going good on the production side of the meetings that we used to have there. And I look towards the door and I see somebody standing there with an EMT sweater on. And I'm like, man, nah, that can't be this. Like, this dude looks, I know this dude. And we like instantly locked eyes and like one of those locked eyes, like if you didn't know somebody and y'all was about to like fight, one of those locking eyes, although we weren't about to fight, but it was like one of those we remember. And he goes, I say his name, and he goes, yo, Raul. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like, holy shit, man, it's been so long. How you doing? Etc. 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 We caught up, and that little moment that we had. Long story short, his wife was also doing Herbalife in the same. We're in the same part of the same organization, and we just were meant to reconnect again. And here we are today. You know, me introducing him to my podcast. You know, for him to share his experiences in life and the topic that we're going to be talking about today as well. But it's just funny how when someone is meant to be in your life, right? And I got this from him from a conversation we had the other day. When someone is meant to be in your life, they will be in your life. And in the moment that you weren't meant to be there yet, right? I think I said that correctly. He can fix that later on. But without further ado, I want to introduce my brother, family, uno de los mío, que siempre va a estar frío conmigo, my brother Juan Gutierrez. Man, welcome to my podcast. Thank you for accepting to do this episode. It's an honor for me to have you here, man. Say what up to the people.
Thank you, my brother. It's my pleasure to be here with you. Amazing, amazing. Going down to memory lane. That's crazy, bro. Like Roosevelt. That's something else, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Those days,
like
Roosevelt, man. I was
it's
thinking about what can I bring up after you speak? Like, what can I bring up to bring even a little bit more memory? But I'll let you continue so let people know a little bit about us meeting Roosevelt days and stuff like that.
yeah. Roosevelt was insane, bro. It's like it was where it was a different time. Like times nowadays is different
Right.
compared to those times. Like it was the introduction to being a man, basically. Because remember, we went from middle school, everybody from your block, to
Mhm.
now in high school, everybody got split.
Mhm.
So you might take two or three friends, but then everybody else go to different schools. So I went to middle school, and then nobody from my grade went to my school. Everybody went to Walton,
Right.
and I got
Right.
shipped to Roosevelt.
Right.
So from
Well, it's
there to
a little
the
out of your comfort zone.
you understand that's how you
Right.
had to man up because you go and you don't remember back in those days like freshman Fridays,
Oh,
all this stuff like
oh
it was
yeah, man.
real. Like it wasn't like a myth. It was real.
It was
Like
real.
you were
People hear
scared going to school. You
Right.
understand?
People hear
Like
those stories now, and it's a myth to them. It's like there's no way. It's like, yeah.
nah, it
I
was
mean,
there.
for now that you bring that up, for me, I'm lucky enough that I had the OGs from my block go to Roosevelt, and they had that respect where I didn't get treated a certain way for Freshman Friday. Like I remember my very first day of school. I remember my very first day of school. There was like a huge line in front of the school. This is before they changed everything to the side door. It was the front. And it's like everybody makes a line, but then you got the people, the jocks, and the groups and the gangs. Que they feel like they can skip everybody. And I remember we were in the front, and one of my boys, George, who went to Clinton, he still had some connections with people in Roosevelt. So he was just going to make sure his little ninjas were good, right? So I lost you. Hold on, people. Some type of technical difficulties, but it's okay. It's okay. No worries. We give him some time to come back. Let's give him some time to come back. This is what it's about, people. This is real in the flesh. Real in the flesh. In the flesh. So, se le cayó la llamada. Man, I love this. I love this, man. I no sugarcoating, man. No edits. You guys are gonna hear all this in the podcast. Well, you guys are gonna hear what I'm saying right now. Um, I'm the one. I'm the one on the Hecan llamada y se va la luz. Y este tigre se le cayó. Och. Well, let's give him some time to come back. But anyways, Well, I'll continue the story. So, in the school that I graduated from in Roseville, that Juan also went to, I had, you know, the OGs kind of went to that school. The older crowd went to that school, and they came the first day of school. They came. I remember my boy George, who went to Clinton, played Clinton or Lincoln. I can't remember now, but he had came just to make sure that we were all. Oh, he's back. Juan is back. He had
Sorry, I
came.
don't know what happened.
You good, you good. Se te fue la luz. Es a mí que me tiene que pasar eso, pero a ti fue que te pasó ahora. Anyways, so the OGs were there, and I remember there was a group. It was like everybody trying to get in, and people try to skip. And I remember the Morenos try to skip. And I was
Bro,
like, man, I'm a freshman, I'm good. I ain't scared because I got the OGs are here, so I'm good. But it's like, who these dudes think they are? They came in, boom. And I remember when we were in the front, when they got towards up, he was trying to, one of the Morenos was trying to move Big George out the way. And Big George is an ex linebacker. Like, bro, it's not going to be that easy. And I just remember he grabbed him and just threw him down the steps. Forget about it. That was my first day of high school experience, a big ass fight that broke out. I remember my mom was scared of me going to Roosevelt because she heard how bad Roosevelt was, but she preferred me to go to Roosevelt instead of Taft because Taft was another one that was crazy.
yes.
But I was supposed to go to it was an all girls school before it became a co-ed. It was by Terror Squad projects. Terror Squad, like Fat Joe and them over there. I
Like
forget the name.
Story Avenue.
Yeah, like
Down
Jan,
there.
John Adams High School, some shit like
Yeah.
that. And I was by myself, bro. I couldn't. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of bloods. I told my mom like, yo, I can't be here by myself, bro. I remember not wearing my Pele jacket because I thought that they would have robbed me. I'm dolo. I got none of the dudes from my block going to that school. It's just me by myself.
And just to put it in context, we never been affiliated, but
Well, no,
the
yeah,
affiliation back in those days was real. Like it was something
yeah,
you
yeah.
had to face. I was in
Like
middle school when
like
they did.
it's your neighborhood. Is
Yeah,
your name you affiliated by your neighborhood or your surroundings?
that's it.
Period.
You can't run away from it.
Nope.
Like I
Nope.
remember. I don't know if you remember when the Bluffs came out. I had a first down. You remember that, Brad? First
Yeah,
down,
yeah, yeah.
the
First down
jacket,
jacket.
and I had
Yeah.
one that it was the flip overs. It was red on the inside with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
white
yeah.
letters, and then if you flip, it was black with the red letters. I
Yeah.
had to give it away because I couldn't wear it.
Yeah,
And it's not
bro.
that you scared, but you gotta play it
Bro,
safe.
at the end of the day, if you dolo, I don't care what nobody says. If you by yourself and there's more than 5 dudes, bro, even more than 3 dudes, like it's not even about who you fought. I mean, I see it like that now. Obviously, I can't really say because back in the days, it's a different story. You kind of like almost had to show that you weren't scared at some point, even if you got beat up. But for me, the only experience that I felt like something was gonna happen to me was when I was in that school, Jane Adams, whatever it's called, and I couldn't wear certain things I wanted to wear because we were fly dudes. I was a fly dude in high school, and I just couldn't wear it where I was at because I was by myself. But once I got to
It's a
Roosevelt
lot.
and I had my people and stuff like that, I didn't have to worry about that. I went to school, fresh to death, how we used to say back in the days, right? And but oh yeah, I remember my first experience. It was a huge fight, and the thing that I wanted to bring up was, like during the one thing I noticed was like during the winter time in school, those 4 years, it was like there was always a brawl between Morenos and Dominicans,
Yes,
always.
always.
And I can't say it was every Moreno because I have friendships with Morenos because I played in the basketball team, so I have friends that were Morenos. That was super cool, and they were not about that whole gang stuff. Me neither. Even though I would have my Dominican peeps, I was never really involved in any of that. Pero I knew my Morenos and I knew my Dominicans, and at least for me, I didn't really have to get involved in that. But I believe you had got one time involved. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if you told me a story in the locker room or something happened to you. Or Motumbo got jumped or something. I don't know. Something happened. But I remember those. I remember experiencing that. I was like, yo, like this is like a jail. Like this
It
looks like
was.
this looks like jail. Like what you hear in jail. That's what our school was. And they had
It
a
was
precinct
a
downstairs, like
prison
cells.
downstairs.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
that was one of the schools that had actually a whole school
Cell block
safety
and shit.
briefs,
Yeah.
yeah, and cell blocks and everything. I
Yeah, that shit
remember
was
that
crazy.
I was never affiliated, and I never per se started any fight. But because my affiliation with, well, I came to high school same thing as you. First day, I used to live in Davison and 183rd, so I knew people from there, from that block. So a lot of them went to Roosevelt. And then by the time that I came to school, I had already moved to uh, I don't want to mention names or groups, but I lived right next to 117. So you know who's behind 117,
I
who
got
runs
yeah,
that.
it's Walton, all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Walter Morris. So I was in
Which was our
Morris
people.
and
Which was our
177.
people. They were our
You, un-
people. Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
understand?
yeah.
But you understand? So now I know different groups from different places.
Yeah.
So I went to Roosevelt. Luckily for me, first guy I met on the line was Wilson, Little Wilson, and the dude is his brother-in-law is one of the top dude in whole Roosevelt. So I'm coming in and I'm coming after him. You remember they used to do the worm?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
means that the stronger person gets in the line, you
In
get
the line,
behind them and you
don't
just
rush
go.
everybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I
that was
remember that.
the experience. And then through there, because of the baseball team, there was a lot of hate. Back in the days, it wasn't hate because of colors or whatever, because we all the same colors, but it was a lot of hate because of different neighborhoods and different colors and not colors of skin, but the bandanas and
Red,
stuff like
blue,
that. Yeah,
green, white,
you understand?
yellow,
So
black. Yeah,
at that
gray.
point, it was an eye opening. Like you get to see high school, all the different people, all the different backgrounds, all the different social economical um, elements in one same place. Because middle
Yeah.
school is more like little kids. Like you went from elementary school to middle school, and you got the same group of friends where you go to the same classrooms and you do the same classes, one teacher. But in this
Mhm.
place, it's like you got one class in the fourth floor, the next one is in the gym down in the basement, the other one is in the other side of the third floor. So you got to
You
move.
got to be careful what side, and you got to be careful what side of the third floor you was on, what side of the fourth floor you was on, because
You
the lunchroom
understand?
separated
So
the fourth floor. So you got to be careful what side you were on, the staircase, what time. Yeah, man, I know all that,
so
bro. This
there,
is
there,
crazy.
I think that was our training wheel towards the world today, basically.
Oh, of course. I
Great
feel like, but
experience.
it's just different era from what it is today. I mean,
Of course,
I
of course.
feel like although we didn't, so here's what's crazy. I was thinking about this right now. This was just came to me. It's crazy how we grew up in one of the worst schools in New York, one of the worst high schools in New York, but
And
there
we don't
was
say
never a
it.
mass. Right, there was never a mass shooting. Well, all the
No.
fights that happened and all that, never a mass shooting. Then after our era of school was when mass shooting started because now the generation was changing where it wasn't so much el tigueraje of dudes from the streets being in school. Yeah, you still got few dudes that are in, but now it's different. It's like I don't feel like we went through anything about bullying. For us, it was like we got the opportunity to fight back.
Yeah.
I think after us is where bullying happened. Like you picking on kids that they're not gonna do anything back. You get what I'm trying to
Yes.
say? For us, we didn't experience that. It's like, bro, if somebody came up to you, they came up to you because they knew you were gonna fight back. They didn't come up to you because you were gonna be bullied. That's not the era we were in. The era we were in is like, bro, le vamos los 5 minutos, 5 minutes in the bathroom. We setting it off. Y ya.
Yeah.
After that, it changed everything because we've never heard any mass shootings when we were in high school. I never heard it
No.
anywhere,
No.
right? I think the one in Colorado happened like in 2006 or something like that. I think. I don't know. But that was after we graduated. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yes.
quote me. I don't know if I'm correct in the year. But, anyways, so let's get back to this. So we can start the questioning right now. So, talk to me about growing up in the Bronx. What was life really like for you back then, back in the days growing up?
But coming into the Bronx, like most people don't know, I wasn't born here. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I came here when I was 9. So
Mm-hmm.
coming into the Bronx from DR, a place that you don't know everything was perfect. Besides, my parent wasn't there for 2 years. They had to uh, migrate here and do a life to prove to the government that they could take care of us. That was the rules. Like we'll let you go first. You set up. You get set up, and then we let them come.
Right. You got to
So
make sure
me,
you got a job and you can take care of your kids when they get here. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So me, my brother, my sister, we stood there with some cousins, and they treated us well. And at that time, life changed because we went from being the poor people to now my parents is in the States. Now we get everything we want. Now we get stipends. Now we get money for to go out and eat. Now we get clothes every time my mom comes. My dad sent clothes, whatnot. So went like a 360
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
kid. So it's interesting. So coming back here, it was a shocking. First of all, you don't know the language. Second of all, is the Bronx, man. Like the Bronx was wild back then. Like first apartment that we landed, it was in Creston and
Oof.
Burnside. Creston
Oof.
and Burnside. I'm telling you, like I'm mentioning names that if you're from the Bronx, you know.
Oh, I know. I was right. I was right up the block, not too far from there.
First apartment in the Bronx, Creston and Burnside, we get stick up, bro. My dad used to be one of these dude that it's a healing process because there's still like little things that unconsciously I still hold it. Not
Mm-hmm.
against him, but in general.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad was that dude that it was all about me. I don't care about anything. It's all about me. So he had 4, 5 chains, the whole, you remember the
Ring.
whole old knuckles,
Yeah. Yeah.
ring,
Nameplate and shit.
treguillo, dos diferentes
Watch
watches,
this.
gold watches and shit like that. Always fly. You know, if you know a Dominican from back in the days, you know they don't play on how they look.
No, eso
Everything
era
has to be fresh.
Versace, camisa, shoes, a little hairs in the chest
You
coming out with the
understand it?
buttons down. Las
It
cadenas se le pierden en todo el pelo que tienen en el pecho.
you understand everything open, like they think they GQ models.
Yeah, bro. That's a
That was the
Jerry.
flow.
So glow. So glow
So
days.
he came here. It was about him, like, and I don't blame him because grew up in a house. His parents were super poor. He had to move into the capital from the countryside, and had to whatever his vision of life was all about him. He got to take care of him.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. So coming there, he was always flashing. Probably like a month until we coming here, we just hear a knock on the door. Tum, 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 tum. Who is it? My mom. We in the room getting ready to go to school. Hey, Juan, my dad. He was home. I don't recall where, but he was home. Boom! Knocked the doors down. Two dudes, guns.
Broad
Where's this,
daylight. Broad daylight because y'all
bro?
going.
7 in the morning. We're going to school.
Wow.
Where's the money? Where's the jewelry? Where's the money? Where's the jewelry? And that's the welcome to America type
Welcome
of.
to America, bro.
You understand? So from there we had to move. We moved elsewhere again. He got blinked out like 2 weeks later. He didn't care about anything, drinking every weekend and stuff like that. So that was the beginning. Like at that point of my life, new country, family dysfunctional. I didn't know what it was, but now I go back and I think, and I used to go into the bathrooms to cry, bro. Just to
Wow.
cry. Like, what the hell? What is
Wow.
going on? What is this?
Wow.
9 years old.
Wow. And no,
Like, what if I lose my mom because of that incident? What if my mom would have died? What if my dad would have died? What would I have done?
all right.
Why
And
didn't I was able to fight back?
and here's what's crazy. Now experiencing living in the Dominican Republic, like I can see why. See, things like that happen everywhere. But in DR, in your neighborhood, that's hard to happen because everybody knows you and people look out for each other in the Dominican Republic. At least from what I've seen now, right? It's like here you are coming to the state where it's supposed to be the American dream, right? And this is what you come into, right? You may not fully understand it, but still, this is what you're coming into as a 9-year-old. Like that shit is traumatizing. You get what I'm saying? Not just for you, but for your siblings. It's traumatizing. Right? Well, you weren't with were your cousins living there too? Or this is when you guys moved already?
No, it was me, we just came to that apartment. That was the first apartment we came to. It was me, my sister, my little brother. We all got tied up in the room. My mom got tied up in the
Yeah.
room. My dad got tied up in the room, had crack, just looking for and years after we understood that it was people from his same
It's,
environment. People
it's
that
usually
you
the people that
know.
know you. It's usually the people that know
Exactly.
you, bro. It's like that, man. That's crazy. But wow. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Then from there, it's navigating schools, navigating different neighborhoods. Back in the days, there was no phones, no situation. So trust was a big thing when it comes to your parents. Because if you say, I'm going over here and I'm going to play to this time, you better be back.
Right. That's the time you're expecting them to come back.
You
Yeah. I
understand?
mean, it's like my dad was like that, my dad gave us like some weird ass times. Voy para afuera, súbeme aquí a las 7:33. Like not even 30 or 35, 7:33. We gotta be 7:33. And it's we have no phones or nothing like that, so we gotta guess. I remember we used to guess. So, fuimos a las 6, bro, we gotta try to guess what an hour and 33 minutes look like. And we gotta guess. Right, but my mom most of the time would call us out through the window and shit to come up. But yeah, my dad used to give us weird ass times. Y que sube para acá, a las 173 tienen que subir para acá arriba ya. A las 173 a bañarse, a acotarse, que hay la escuela, whatever. But yeah, man. So, okay. What did your parents instill in you that you didn't fully understand until later on in life?
Going back to the family, it's dysfunctional. My mom, a lady from church, when she was already from church before she left. So coming over here, she was already in church, which is right there in Echo Place.
I know which one.
Yeah. So being from church and then it's like being in two different worlds. You have my mom, fully religious,
So, so your mom went to because that's where I grew up in Echo. So your mom went to the church right there on Tremont.
yeah.
Yeah, I know which one exactly. Ya que
So
cuando tú sales de la esquina with the little tunnels that right across the street.
yeah,
Yeah.
fully committed church every Saturday, every Wednesday, every Friday. You're in church. You gotta do this. You gotta follow these rules. But then you got my father's side,
Who's
and
not
my
religious at
father
all.
is drinking, bad words, doing whatever I want. Coming home at 6 in the morning. Sometimes coming at 8 in the morning. I go to work. I do my thing. I pay my rent. I don't care about anything else. I gotta do me. So I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do me. So then with the double life, that's when you start understanding. Okay, if I'm with my dad, should I act like this? If I'm with my mom, should I act like this? And then you basically start navigating different lies, learning how to say stuff, how to please both parents in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you
So
try your best to. You try your best to please both parents.
it's sad.
Right. So you had a super religious mom, and then your dad was just living his life the way he felt was the best way to live his life, but definitely not in the path that your mom was in. Yet your parents were still living together and still
Living
married,
together,
etc.
still married till today, still married. My dad did kind of like a 360. And that's when I start understanding the plan and everything. Like sometimes you got to give the person a chance, and
Yeah, there's got to be grace.
you understand. The plan to me personally, and because this is my life, it was like kind of like at the beginning, not understanding, wanting my mom to do better and to leave him. But then in the same thing, I love my dad, and he's not the best dad, but I still love him. Like you still have
Yeah.
that love for the man. The man is still in the house. Like I knew a friend of mine that had no dad, didn't know they dad. So I was able to at least have the figure at home. You understand? So it was like kind of like being poor. I had my friends from church, and then I have my cousins that were not in church. And although you don't kind of like have two identity, because I always understood who I am. Like
Right.
I wasn't pulling for one side or being different to the other side. But you could pay more attention. You are more vigilant of what this people do and how you act here, and then what this people do and how you act here. And then you
Yeah.
throw high school in the midst. Then now I have basically the liberty to do whatever I want.
That is your free will. That's your moment for your free will to do whatever you need to do and figure it out.
Exactly. So what they instill, my mom still like church, being polite, always don't hurt people. Everything that comes out of your mouth, you got to be very careful because you don't want to hurt somebody else because just like you hurt them, they hurt you. And then he learned from my father is like you got to be responsible. You got to be a man, and this how men act, and this how men do stuff. And I'm a man, and I could get all the ladies, and I could do this, and I could do that, because it's reality, right? This is reality.
Macho,
So
macho, 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 machismo, macho, macho.
exactly. So this is probably not what he's telling me, but what he's doing that I'm seeing.
Right, right, right.
You understand? Because our parents never was like sat us down, was like, Raúl, esto es lo que es, and this is how it is. You understand? They were
Because
like,
the thing is, our parents raised us to the best of what they knew themselves from how they grew up. They didn't. It's not like you see. I feel like because we live in a different time, we've had. Well, I can't say it's only us because they also had a choice, right? But we have had the choice to raise our kids differently, not like how we were raised. Um, they could have had the choice also, but we came up in an era where we have more resources, more exposure to things that gave us the opportunity to say, "Hey, I can choose to raise my kid differently. I don't have to raise my kid the way my father raised me." Right. And then not to say that they raised me the wrong way, because I don't see it like that anymore. I might have seen it like that a few years ago, but I don't see it like that anymore. This is where it comes to you saying that you got to give, your mom gave your dad grace, which you understood the plan on where he is now in life. It's almost like we come to an understanding that they were raised a certain way, and they just did the same thing that they learned.
exactly.
That's what they thought was right. Right? We grew up in an era where we were exposed to certain things, learned different things, and also decided and chose to do different. Because I could have easily said, I'm gonna raise my kids like my father raised me, which is in a strict line, almost military, and not so much affection being showed. And this, you get what I'm saying? I was literally having this conversation with my wife the other day where it's crazy how men still live in that machismo, masculine, I'm a man, and this is how men act, where they don't show affection to their son. That's
No,
crazy. Because if they
never.
show too much affection to their son might be gay. Like where in your mind does that make you think that? Like why and why? See, my father didn't show me the affection, right? And my mom either, to an extent, which is something I took on to my relationship where I didn't show affection to my wife. when we were together. See, but when it came to my kids, to my son, I chose that's not how I'm gonna be with my kid. That's not how I'm gonna be with my son. Like my son, there's affection, there's love. You get what I'm saying? But nothing in my mind say just because I do that, my son's gonna be gay. Like you get what I'm saying? There's still men that think that way, and it's crazy for me that people still think that way. It's wild. It's wild.
Going to your point, um, it's crazy because the way they used to act and talk and tell us stuff versus the way they show up was
Mm-hmm.
different. And we had those two variables of our fathers, who he was, and because my father never, ever, I can tell you to today, about to be 41, never in my life touched me, like raised his hand, hit me, bell, anything. But when he used to raise his voice, it was a rap.
Yeah, you were scared. You got scared.
That's it.
You got scared.
So
You got
from
scared.
being that and like you said, never ever to later in life ever said I love you, hug you, whatever, birthday come, birthday go, never. To him it was whatever. But what I used to see, like everything they used to do to my mom, to yourself, how you used to act outside in the streets, how you used to
Mhm.
party and stuff like that. So now I have who you are because of what you give me and what I see that you are.
Right. Totally different.
And then and like you said, like this is the stuff that I'm trying to fix now that I so I don't have to pass it down to my sons
No.
or my
Yes.
daughters. That I'm
Of
able to
course.
be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I'm your dad, but I still love you. And I'm gonna give you a kiss. And I
Right.
know
Right.
it's embarrassing for you, but I'm gonna give you a hug.
Right.
Because it's okay that I can love you.
Right. It is. It is. It is. The same way. The same way. The same way that a daughter needs his dad, his son needs his dad too.
Yes. And probably more.
Right.
Because
And yeah. Yeah.
our thing is more like we keep it quiet. Daughters is female, so they more like gentles and they will express it out even more. But as a man, because society tells you that you a man, you gotta keep it in.
Right. You can't cry.
So
You can't be showing vulnerability. That shit is weak, and
you
we don't live in those
understand?
times no more, man. That shit is over with.
Exactly.
That shit is all over with. All right, man. Let me get to the next question. So, what did we normalize growing up that now we can look back and realize that wasn't normal? Like for example, for me, growing up, something that I thought was normal growing up was that I saw my father with different women, right? So
That's a big one.
for me growing up, if I wasn't, and even, and I can go to the extent of like, once I get married, that's when I know I shouldn't be with other women. See, my dad was married, but he still was. But that was something that I saw growing up where I would thought that that was normal, which is why I've never really was in committed relationships growing up. Like my first real girlfriend was my oldest mom, and that didn't last long. And then after that, I was single for a long time until I met my wife. But even then, right? Even then, it wasn't official till it was official. So I still had the bueno, como no es algo serio todavía, and this is what I've seen growing up. It looks normal, but obviously when you become an adult, now you got to start making some choices and know, that you're doing this because you want to. It's no longer going to be because it's what you saw growing up at some point. And obviously it got to that point. But that was something where I felt growing up, where I saw that was normal growing up, and not just my dad, but uncles and friends. Like that was literally something in that era growing up. Like that was
It
something.
was it was the norm. It was
That's
a
what I'm saying.
competition. Everywhere you turn as a man, it was like we went to school. It was a competition. Who get the most girls?
Yep.
Oh,
No,
you
that's
got
true.
this one. I got the other one. You see this one. Oh, that one. The freshman came. Oh shit, freshman day. Oh, whatever. Oh, now I'm in 10th grade. Let's get the freshman. Oh, now I'm a senior, this, that. Like, it's, and then you went back to the block, same thing. And then you went
Mm-hmm.
back home, same thing.
Same thing. Yep.
You understand? So it was normalized to the point that it's so ingrained in society that it's hard to break it off. Even as a awake and developed person, it's still something that you got to fight every day,
Oh,
every day.
of course.
You
Temptations
understand?
is gonna
Because
be there
temptation
always.
is the biggest thing is temptation. It's going to tempt you where you think that you have overseas or you have done the work. That's where
Right.
it's going to manifest and show the most.
Right, and temptation it doesn't always have to be like for example, if you're a man, temptation doesn't have to be that as a woman that you're being tempted by. You could be tempted by stealing something, lying about something, etc. Right? It doesn't necessarily have to be just a figure of a female. Like that doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily have to
No,
be
no,
it.
no, definitely. It could
Yeah,
be anything. And what's crazy is that society has normalized it so much that you do it even without acknowledging that you're doing it.
you get lost in it, bro. It
Exactly. Like
becomes
you could
normal. It becomes normal, second to
you
none.
something as simple as you go into a grocery store and while you shopping, you open the chips, eat a few, and a lot of people will put it back. Bro, that's wrong. You know that's
Yeah,
wrong. Like if you already opened it, pay it.
yeah.
Something
I've
simple
seen,
like that.
I've seen it. Yeah,
You
something
understand?
simple
So
as that. Yep. All right, so look, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take it back a little bit to high school days, right? And ask you. So when you think back at Roosevelt, like the Roosevelt days, right? Who was Juan back then in high school? Who was Juan? And don't. Well, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but just stay there. Who you was back then. We'll get into who you are now. But who was Juan back then in high school?
in high school, I was I thought that I was cool.
You thought you was cool.
I thought that I was cool. I always there was a lot of people pleasing to fit in.
Yeah.
A lot of people fail to recognize that point. But there was a lot of people pleasing because you want to fit in certain groups. You're willing to do
Mhm.
some things to be part of.
Right, right,
Especially during those times where being part of something meant so much because it was idolized by everybody else. The
right.
girls,
The
the
cool
the
points.
the other kids, the other clique or the other group, they idolized that you was part of something. So being part of
Right.
something became so normal that if like I never got affiliated with nobody. I did used to chill with different groups. At one point there was a group from Preston, who was the first block that I lived, people that I knew from there, and they used to bang with one group. And then when I moved to towards the end, when we was in like to doing the whole baseball situation and stuff like that, some of the baseball players were banging with another group. So you was there, but you wasn't really part of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You was
But
just hanging out.
to them, you
You
was
were in
part
it.
of the group.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
were
there's
in
a
it.
lot of people pleasing and trying to fit in every single day.
Right.
Like I
I,
said, and I don't share this because it's you or whatnot, but it's coming up to say it. For example, my dad made good money, but everything was for him. Never bought me anything. So my mom did her best to put food on the table, to put clothes on our backs, to always have us fresh. But it was impossible. Three kids, her by herself. Back in those days, salary was trash. My mom used to do all of this with $200. $200. So I remember that it was, for example, my dad always was fresh. I don't know if you remember the pepper jeans.
yeah, of course.
So what I used to do, I don't know if you remember, there was a style of pepper jeans that used to have two leather things on the back.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And then they came
used
out with
to
the strap. on the side too.
You know, I used to go, and my mom used to buy me the jeans from, let's say, Jean Star, right there in
Jean
Burnside.
Star. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I used to take the Pepe's little things on the back
Y lo ponen en los
and
pantalones
sew it in order to fit in.
in order to look like you have pepes on.
You understand? So things like that that force you to build a persona that you really not. But
Right.
today and day, like
You're faking it. You're faking it.
you understand? So today I could easily go to Costco, I could go to BJ's, I could go to Gucci, I could go to anywhere, and to me a pants is a pants. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just put it on and I'm gonna sweat my balls.
That's what we live. That's what we live at right now. That's the world we in now. But I mean, we all did it. I mean, for me, my dad, it's a little different. My dad wanted us to have everything he didn't. My dad wanted us to have everything he didn't have. So my dad bought us everything. My dad, si salieron unos nuevos tenis Nike, you got them. As long as we did good in school, which we always did, you got it. You get the Jordans, you get the jersey if you want it, you get the jeans. But there was still a part of me who, in high school, because of where I grew up at, I had to be this type of person where it's like, you can't fuck with me. Although that's never who I really was. That was just who I was portraying to be. Not a gangster, but like, si lo vamos a fajar, yo voy a tirar. When in reality, I'm the type of person that doesn't really like confrontations. If we can avoid it and we can just talk, I'm good with that. But in those days, in that era, bro, we couldn't really. There was really no talking.
You don't
It
have a
was
choice.
you have to, like I said earlier, the 5 minutes. Let's just boogie down in the 5 minutes. Go to the bathroom 5 minutes, throw it down. That's it. But I portrayed to be someone I wasn't for a long time. And I think back at it, all I could do was laugh because at the end of the day, those choices that we made played a role when we needed
Of
it at some
course.
point. So we
That
can't be like nah, we should have never did that. It played a role in our life.
it did. Like that made me to become what your father was to you to my little brother. So
Yeah,
when he
look
he
at that.
went to high school, I was spoiling the kid to the point that right now this dude is sitting in an apartment with almost 4,000 pair of sneakers.
Look at
And I'm
that.
like, you understand? So because all that trauma that I endure, I had to look for outlet, and I gave it
Right,
to my little brother. And when I was
right.
working, what you want, what you need, this jeans, this that. Now I can wear it. So, but I don't even want to wear it. Let's give it to you. Now you wear
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Now
You
you
take it.
got the
You were.
sneakers. Now you got the fit. Now what else you need? So,
Yeah.
but it's an
So
evolution.
of course, yeah. All right. So what did you think life was gonna look like for you back in the days? Like after high school, what you thought life was gonna look like?
I tell you this, although everything that was going on, I always had a good, or I don't know, my my inner self has always shown in me and always knew what I wanted.
Okay.
Like and I knew that everything that I wanted was gonna play out. Probably not exactly how it has played out, but back in the days I used to say like the focus back in those days was baseball. Thinking that but I'm one of the person that takes clues really quick. If something
Right.
is not meant for me,
For me, it was basketball too.
yeah, if something is not meant for me, God would give me that clue, and I'll know that I'm gonna keep doing. Like for example, sophomore year playing baseball, I was in the gym just running. I don't know if you remember, we had those big volleyball net that they used to push over and then open
Hmm.
them.
Yeah,
One of
yeah.
those things tripped right on my throwing arm. Boom! The whole thing dislocated. So now I can't throw. I still stood in this team and I still was like a pinch hitter and so on and so forth. But I know professionally that was going to hinder me. So it was out of my mind, out of my mind.
Right
Move up to
away.
the
Okay.
next. So who was Juan projected to be. All I knew it was that how I wanted to live and by what time I wanted to do it. And I said by 40, I need to be semi-retired. I need to own some of my time, and I need to have X, Y, and Z. I don't
Okay, so you
remember
already
per
had that in
se
mind.
exactly, yeah,
Right,
but I
right.
already knew that set. That's
Yeah,
my focus, and that's where I want to go.
for me, I thought I was gonna be a basketball player, man. I played ball, you know, I played ball, and then after high school, took a year off. I had went to Florida International, and I had went to Buffalo, like to visit the schools. Not that I was like, well, I can't say I wasn't accepted because I was invited to go visit the schools, but which are Division 3 schools. They're not Division 1 or 2, but I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I grew up baseball, first love baseball. Pero when I went to when I in junior high school, the gym teacher in that school, they were playing basketball, and I picked up basketball, and I fell in love with the game of basketball. Then when I got to high school, you know Taylor, gym teacher,
Yeah,
right? Still good friends with him, still talk to him to this day. It was just different the way he did it. I felt like my dad was so tough on me in baseball, como que me desacantó when I started playing basketball. And I remember even lying to my dad that I was on the baseball team. And I wasn't. I was playing for the basketball team. I was trying out for the basketball team, not even baseball. And he found out because I had gotten an award for like the best sportsman, the award for the best sportsmanship or something like
yeah.
that. And he was like, "What the hell for basketball? Why? Whatever." Anyways, um, I took the year off. That ended up being 2 years. Then after the third year, if you're not responding back to the school that had invited you, you don't tell them. That's it. It's over. Got my oldest mom pregnant, and from there it was. That's just how it went. I mean, I don't regret any of it, obviously, because my life is what it is today, and I have an amazing kid, right? My oldest, and I would never want to change that. How would has it come across my mind how it would have looked if I would have at least had the experience of playing college ball or something like that? I don't know what it would have been like. But all I know is that the choices that I made back then has given me the opportunity to live the life I live today. But my life back then in high school, that's what I thought I was gonna be, playing professional basketball.
And
That's
you
what I
know
thought.
what?
I didn't even
Hey,
think far enough to 40, 30, none of that, bro. I was like, I'm playing ball.
I think that you don't miss it because it wasn't meant to be.
Nah, of course, because if it was meant
You
to be, you'd be
understand? Like, yeah,
frustrated. Yo conozco gente.
exactly,
I know people that are frustrated with their lives because they thought their life was going to be a certain way and it's not. I've accepted it because I
exactly.
understand now it wasn't never meant to be. I was meant to experience what I did, but that's it. That's it. If
It's just
your life is already written, your chapters, your book is already lifted, already written. It's gonna live out and play out the way it's supposed to. And if you're alive right now, April 13, 2026, and you where you are in your life right now is where you're meant to be. Don't think about the situation, whether it's bad or wrong. Just think about you where you are right now. That's where you're meant to be. And then going forward, you have choices, but it's still meant to be that way. Still, you choose tomorrow to take a taxi instead of the train to work. You were meant to take the taxi instead of the train. You get what I'm saying?
you thinking that tomorrow, whatever it brings, you're gonna think it at the spot. It's bro. So
It's
this
already
is people already
it's
like
gonna
reading the
happen.
book and they already know that it happened.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah. Okay. So what were we chasing back then without even knowing it? Was there something you were chasing back then without even knowing that you was? That you was?
Recognition.
Recognition? Ooh, I think that I felt like that was the same for me, especially when got into the business of Herbalife where there's a lot of recognition and
Yes.
it felt amazing. Cause I for a very long time I felt like nobody will see the shit that I do or nobody appreciates the shit that I do. And then obviously now the way I live life is like the only person that should appreciate the things you do is yourself. You don't need to have it from anybody. right?
Yeah, but
Any extra appreciation is extra.
that's right to the point. But I think that for us is even a level deeper. The recognition of our fathers.
Ooh, for sure, for sure.
That's what you're
I don't know if you,
seeking.
yeah, well, I don't.
Mhm.
Well, my dad has. I think my dad has given me some recognition in the past few years, especially the conversation that we had 2 years ago. Well, I finally had that convo with my dad, how I blamed him for how my relationship went, etc. I don't think I've ever seen my dad cry ever, and that was like one of the. I think that was one of the toughest things he's ever had to do because I feel like us men, if you have a father figure in your life, and let's say you're growing up, it was a difficult time, right? I don't think we've stopped to think and ask our fathers how were they raised. So my dad has never been asked that question, and when I asked him that question, he didn't even know how to really answer it. It was he's never said the story from the he remembers it, but he has never had to share the story. So 2 years ago when I had the conversation, three years ago when I had the conversation with him, and I asked him, he told me, right, his father was a military. His father had left. He was raised by another person that who's the grandfather that I knew that raised us. It's not my biological grandfather. I never met my biological grandfather, but my dad growing up, he's the only one that has the last name that I carry because he's the only one that stood with it. His other brothers, who's from that same father, changed it. They changed their last name, and my dad kept it, and he kept it because he waited for his father to come back, and he never did. So his upbringings was tough, especially that trauma of waiting of abandonment, right? So again, my father raised me how he felt things were supposed to be done because it's how he was raised. And I think a part of him not showing that affection side, that I love you side, the hugging and shit like that side, comes from that abandonment. It comes from waiting for his pops who never came back. You know what I'm saying? So having that conversation with him, when I asked him how was your upbringings, it was like, I don't even know how to put it into two words, but it was a strong conversation. It was something he for sure has never been asked, and just the emotions and the vulnerability that I got to see was like, it was I say it was amazing because I've never seen that. I've never seen my father like that. Never, ever. And to see it, it was like, wow. Like, I understand. I understand. But there's a lot of men out there who have probably never asked if they have their father in their life or a male figure that raised them in their life. How was your upbringing? So you can even ask your mom if you had a mom that was tough on you, a single mom raising boys and etc. But we forget, to ask our parents how were they raised. Have you asked your parents ever? For those of you listening, have you ever asked your parents how was your upbringings? How was you raised? Because I didn't really know how my father was raised until I asked him, right? So, but yeah, yeah. Kind of, I think I lost Juan again. I don't see him. Hello. Think we lost Juan again, people. He'll come back. There you go.
Right, yeah, I don't know
So,
what's
but
going
yeah, bro.
on. Yeah, se fue la luz.
No, eres tú necesitas un inversor allá ahora. No, you need a planta. Tú necesitas la planta ya. So yeah, bro. I've never asked my dad that, and I feel like there's probably a lot of people that have never asked their parents how they were raised. And we get a different sense of understanding if we do ask our parents how they were raised. If you asked your parents and you know how they were raised, great. I didn't know how my father was raised until I asked him and told him, and he told me, and that was literally 3 years ago.
I know my dad's story from my mom, not from him, because she's still a very well. I haven't sat down and had the conversation. I have done some work on some healing, on accepting and understanding my part and loving him, not
Mm-hmm.
non-judgmental, just for who he is, accepting that whatever he did was the best that he was going to be able to give me and what I needed in order to become the person that I need to become.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
conversation can be another breakthrough. I haven't had it because I assume that whatever my mom provided in in when it comes down to his story was enough. But like you're saying
Yeah.
now, that could be another breakthrough for everybody. Like
No, it's because,
not
bro, you think about it. If you think about it, our parents are old school, bro. They. If we grew up in the era we did, imagine the era they grew up in. Nobody asks them those questions.
no.
It
There's
is what it
this
is. Nobody asks them those questions.
like you said before, there's no feelings attached.
None, bro. I've never seen my dad that vulnerable and emotional. Never. Just from asking him a question, I was curious to know in that moment how was his upbringings because this is where I already started my process of awakening. So it's like there's no more blaming. You got to take responsibility for your life, and the only way you do that is having the conversation with the person you blamed because of how you grew up and what you saw, etc. And that's what happened with me. But when I asked my dad that question, it was like he's never been asked that, so he has never had to share that. So imagínate how much he probably didn't even know my pops. He was drowning in something that he probably needed to let out. You get what I'm saying? He might have
Yes.
not consciously known it, but subconsciously, he's probably been waiting his whole entire life to let go of that,
Yeah.
to release how he grew up, to say it, to share it. Right. And I just went to an experience around the time and I asked him. That was like it's gonna be 3 years in December. So 2 years and a half right now when I asked
But
him that question.
the thing that we was talking in another opportunity, the amazing thing is that that was the moment that he needed for you to
Of
ask him
course.
that question.
Yeah, of course, of course. That's
Like
how life works. That's how it works. That's how
like
life
that
works.
the timing of life, of source, of God, however people might call it, is amazing. And we don't see it, but it's exactly when you need it. Not when you
Hmm.
want it or when you think that you deserve it. It's when you need it. And
When
it
you need it.
comes and it gave you that breakthrough weeks before so that you could prepare and that him was there and the courage because you didn't have the courage. Raul, a year before that breakthrough, would have
Oh,
never asked that question.
I would have never asked that question. Never.
You understand? So the whole process, like the ability that we have to look back and start putting things together, like, oh, this happened because of this and this happened because of that. Now understanding that God can see it forward, like, oh, that's gonna happen tomorrow. Oh, this is gonna happen this week. Oh, take it easy. And we here praying and oh God, do this, please do that. And it's coming in 2 months. Relax, man. And you're like you don't even know, and it's already solved. Like the issues from today has already been solved, and we don't even know. And we
Yeah.
here worrying and getting all this sickness and all
But
this.
that's because, see, if we knew where we were going to be at a month from now, we wouldn't do what we have to do to get there. For example, if a month from now I'm meant to be hit the lotto and win $500 million, the steps to get there. If I know that's gonna happen, I'm not gonna do nothing because I know.
It's coming.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know it's coming, so I'm not gonna do anything. So it's like if you were to see where you were gonna be in the future, well, there's no fun in that. That's the point of experiencing life. There's no
For
fun in knowing.
sure.
Now you can know that is what's gonna your future is gonna be. but knowing 100% for sure that you're gonna get it guaranteed, you wouldn't do what you need to do to get there. The point of life is to evolve and have these experiences to get to what you deserve to have, or what already is waiting for you, right? That version of you, that better version of you is waiting for you, right? But if you knew what's waiting for you, you wouldn't take the steps to get to that
to
version
get
of you.
there.
You just wouldn't. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, man. A year before it happened, if I would have never,
But at
never asked.
least, but at least today, you have the certainty.
Oh, for sure.
You have the certainty that everything is going to be okay. You don't know what's
Everything that I
coming because,
always.
like you said, we have to go through the journey to get to the outcome. But it's hard when you are when you say, like, for example, I was talking to my mom. I'm sorry to like go off topic a little. I was
No, no,
talking
you
to my
good.
mom. My mom is always healthy all her life. 2 years, 2020, got COVID. 3 years after this, now needs a lung transplant. Both lungs messed up to the point that now she got a breathing machine. She can't even take two steps without coughing and dying. Mind you, I've been a paramedic for years. I can't help you. I all my knowledge is just to be there with you, but I can't help you because
Right,
it's your
right.
journey. So
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that I could do is just give you my words of affirmation and certainty. And I'm telling
Right.
her, like, listen, you believe in God, but you don't let him act, you don't let him do, because you're too worried about what's gonna happen. If you would have trust and you would be certain that this was gonna happen, it would happen. And you don't need the
The,
stress that's killing you right now. Mind
you
you, listen,
know,
listen, but listen, hey, this is the part.
now listen, listen.
She's in the hospital. She get hospital. Then we go to the hospital, regular visit. She feels bad. I take her to the hospital. They make her a note. A note is when they take you to the room where all the doctors come rush you and do everything. So you go to the hospital, they sit you down. But if you're a note, they move you to a room and then everybody comes, all the specialists, what's going on? What's going on? And they try to. I take her to the regular side. They put her as a note. She tells me she don't know English. Well, she understands, but she don't. You know, our parents
Speak.
they don't. They're not fluent.
Sí,
She
se defiende,
tells
pero se defiende.
she tells me the following. In 3 weeks, I spoke to somebody. Mind you, nobody has spoken to her. But this is what I tell you: when you close your eyes and you trust and you're certain. He tells me, I spoke to a doctor. I don't know. I don't see him here, but he told me in 3 weeks I'm gonna get the lung to be ready, and I'm gonna just get the right one because they're not gonna do both, and it's gonna be like this and like that and like this and like that. I'm like, I've spoken to all the doctors. You are now getting into the transplant list. It's gonna take a year for you to get a lung. We never met that doctor again. 3 weeks later, she was getting ready to go to surgery to get the lung. And
Certainty,
I'm
huh?
like, yeah, like, who told you? The way that you said it came out of your mouth. I listened and I was making fun of you because you had to be crazy because you was gonna be here for a year to get it exactly how she said it. Because she decided to listen to me and be like, you know what? It's not my responsibility. You are my creator. I'm gonna let you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when you have
Oh, you
certainty,
know. When you know, you know.
you understand, and it's not something that is a miracle. Yeah, we could call it a miracle, we could call it whatever. But when you are sure that something is gonna happen, it'll happen.
You'll have that's and see, this is this is gonna be a little it's gonna be a little tough because this is something I've done my best to not talk about. But this is the reason why I don't agree. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm saying this has to be somebody's truth. This is me, right? I'm not saying that anyone that's religious is wrong. That's not what I'm saying either. But this is why I don't agree with religion. See, because religion instills in people to fear a lot of things, right? And it's almost like you have to give your power to something or some being that you don't even know, right? So all the chaos, all the worry, all the fear, it's almost like something is preached, but then it's contradicting at the same time, because how can you preach something to me to leave it in God's hands, but then there's also fear in God because I'm gonna be judged at some point for whatever reason. So for me, it's always been, and again, this is me. I don't have anything against anybody. My mom is religious. She's Christian. I don't have anything against my mom. I'm not saying that the way she wants to live her life is wrong. No, you live your life how you want to. I've been told the opposite because I'm not religious. Pero that's another topic. But for me, it's just like, that's why I've always questioned, why should we fear, right? Because that's what they preach. You got to fear God, and that you're going to be judged at some point, and you might go to heaven and hell or whatever it is. And it's like, why would you fear God if you were created by God, right? Which in my eyes, God is everything. It's not a human waiting for you in the sky. That's my truth. That doesn't have to be anybody else's truth, but that's how I see it. If God is everything and God created you, then how is it that the same person that created you and knows everything, because God knows everything, is going to judge you at the same time when he knows? It's like saying, I created Rafael. Rafael, when he turns 18, I'm God, so I know this. He's going to rob people. Why would I judge him if I know he's going to do it at 18? You know what I'm trying to say? So the contradictions in it, it's what, and this is not all religious people, because there's religious people that are a little bit more open-minded to certain things. But that's what I disagree with religion. It's like there's the preaching part of things, but then there's the contradictions of fearing the same things that they preach is supposed to be good. So it's like, I just don't agree with it, but it is what it is. But your mom at that point, just her certainty of knowing it. And this is one thing. I know that there's people that become religious because of an event that happened in their life, and that particular time and experience is what made them believe in them again. That's great to believe in something. But I've always been the type of person to question a lot of things also. Because I feel like a lot of people don't question things. Like, they see the things that are happening, but they still don't question. Just like people that blindly trust the government. You see all the shit that's happening, but you still don't question the shit that's happening. Like, to that extent, right? But yeah. But I'm glad to
My,
hear your mom. So this is right now, currently, that she's gonna get the surgery, or she already
no,
got it?
she already got it like a year ago, and
Okay.
she's better, but it's the same going falling back into the old habits of the fear and my
Right.
and it's my continuous conversation with her, like, if God is God and He's Almighty and He's so great and He's so merciful and He's so amazing and He created us and He gave us all this, why don't you trust Him blindly and let Him
Right.
do whatever
Why
He want to
fear?
do? You
Exactly.
understand?
Why fear? Why fear? That's what I'm
Why
saying. Why
say I
fear?
trust God, but I'm like, oh please, and crying every night when you could, you
Exactly.
know what? I trust you. You handle it, and whatever is the outcome, I have to live with it regardless.
That's
So
my
whatever
point.
you give me is because I deserve it, or because it's my next
That's
step
my
to
point.
wherever I'm going.
That's my point.
You
It's like,
understand?
bro,
So
like, do you listen to what you? So I had one time, because a lot of, sometimes I get DMs from people, and I don't mind helping people out, mentoring them or whatever. If they ask me a question, I don't care. Like, that's to me, I love doing that. I love helping and mentoring people. That's what I love to do, right? So this this person through DM sends me. He might know who he is when he hears this. He's like, I'm gonna have, I'm a little down. I'm a little down because I'm prepping and getting ready for surgery tomorrow. I'm like, okay, what you getting surgery on? So he's getting surgery, done something in his body, right? And he says, I'm scared. I'm scared, but I know God got me. So in my mind, I'm like, if God got you, why are you scared? See what I'm saying? It's like the contradiction. They don't see it. Like, if you know God got you, if you know this, know certainty, not believe, because believe there's a little doubt. But if you know certainty that God got you, why would you be afraid? Why would you fear? You get what I'm trying to say?
There's
Like
no
it.
point.
So that's what I disagree with when there's people speaking and preaching the things that they preach. I don't agree with that. Like it doesn't make sense. You can't tell me that you're saying God is everything and God loves you and God doesn't judge and God is gonna protect you, but then you're telling me that I gotta fear the same God that's supposed to be protecting me and shit. Come
And
on.
I tell you this, I kind of like because of my mom, I spent a whole lot of time in church, including I met my wife through church. She was going to one church, I was going to another church, and then we met. And it's insane that how people with the same mindset they attract each other because she
No matter
thinks the
what.
same way,
No
and it's
matter
like
what.
and our philosophy, both of us, I don't want to quote her, but what I think is that we always had that same inquietud, that same questioning, like, why is this like this when the Bible's saying else, something else? When God is trying to show us something else. Why do you have to put it like this and so dramatic and so if you don't do this, if you don't come on Saturday, if you don't do that, if you don't like all these guardrails to push it to stay when if you're so good, I tell me personally, I don't wanna and I'm not mentioning church, but me personally, if you're so good, shouldn't you just let everybody go? And eventually they're gonna find their way back because everything else is bad out there, and and they're supposed to come back to the good. So, but
Yeah, man.
with you in the
Listen,
same way.
I question it since I was young because my mom also always really, church and stuff, and I did my baptism, my first communion, and all that. But I've always questioned it, bro. Always since I was young, and never sat right with me. It just never did. One, a book that was written by people, manipulated, edited a whole bunch of times. Like it's and I'm not saying that the stories in the books are not great. The stories in the books are great. The stories in the Bible are great principles, right? But I feel like people should read the Bible with their own comprehension or their own level of thinking in the because everybody's gonna read the Bible to the level of the level of consciousness that they're in,
Yes,
right? So if you read the Bible from the level of consciousness that you're in, you're gonna see something different than the person that's reading it to you.
yes,
That's just the reality. If you read ¿cómo que se dice? A passage of the Bible, a scripture of the Bible, if you read it right now, Juan, you read a scripture of the Bible, right? And you're reading it to me, I'm gonna take it as you're reading it. But then what if I go read it myself and I get something else? See, that's where that's the thing that's not happening,
yes.
right? Most people are taking the interpretation of the person that's reading the Bible to them. And again, I'm not saying that that's wrong. What I'm saying is you might see something different if you read it yourself. And I feel like the
My
stories in the Bible is meant for that, for people to
yes,
understand it themselves on on the level of conscious that they're in.
exactly. And then my thing is like, why if I read it and then you read it, why we have to argue? Why can't you be
Right.
right and
It's,
I
it's
be right?
That's it. There's no
That's
right or
it.
wrong.
You
You read
understand?
it, you
Like
got what you got, and you read it when you got what you got. That's it. There shouldn't
so.
be a right or wrong.
So basically, if you read it and you got $10,000, and I read the same passage and I got $10,000 a different way, why am I right and you're wrong? If we both got the same outcome,
Lo que te estoy diciendo.
you
Yeah, bro. But
understand?
that's what
Like,
That's what it is. And it's all, and I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to talk about this ever again. It's all a system to control and separate people. It
Yes,
is what it is.
yes, yes.
Politics,
We that
religion,
that that could be a
all
whole episode. That could be
religion
a
and
whole.
politics, it's all about separating people. And if people question more, they will see that. But because people don't question and they just blindly believe it, right? Because they don't know it, they
No,
believe it. They will never question it. They will never see it. I will never forget this video I saw of this guy who said, do you believe in Jesus Christ or do you know Jesus Christ? And he says, I believe in Jesus Christ. And he's like, okay, so you believe him because you've never met him. Because if I ask you if you know your mother, you're gonna tell me I know my mother, not that you believe who's your mother. You know your mother because you've met her. You get what I'm saying? So everybody has a concept of this, right? For example, one thing that I've always questioned is how come some people say Jesus is black, some people say Jesus is white, some people say Jesus is Indian, right? I question all of that. It's like if there's one Jesus Christ and there's one God, why is not every just white people don't understand every just understand everybody just as one, which is what we're supposed to be, one, all, right? Why is it that there's different things, different religions, different but I would never forget where I used to work at. Tuve, por eso que no me gusta meterme in this rabbit hole. I will never forget where I used to work at. One of my boys is Jehovah. One of my other boys is Catholic. When he said, I'm gonna bring my Bible and I'm gonna show you that this Bible is right, and he was like, nah, I'm gonna show you that my Bible's right. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. So the Bibles are wait, yo, I will never forget. I'm like, wait a minute. So the Bibles are different? So you have a Bible and you have a Bible and there's a verse in there that's gonna be right and the other verse is gonna be wrong. Like, what are y'all talking about right now? So again, it goes back to questioning. See, those things I question. If there's only one, why are there so many different things? Systems to control, to manipulate. That's all it is, to separate people. That's all that is. But people are too invested, or again, the title of this episode is called "The Truth Shall Set You Free." A lot of people don't want to walk in that freedom because they're afraid to find out what the truth is. They're afraid to lose that identity that they've known for so long, right? So, and I remember when I sent you the text message, yo, I got the title already, right? And I posted something on my threads, and literally, the truth shall set you free. But a lot of people don't want that freedom
no,
because they're afraid of what they're going to uncover. But that's the point of life. We are supposed to evolve. We're supposed to let go of the identity that no longer serves us. And that goes with losing people as well, losing things. And that's what people are afraid of doing. And that's why people will continue to remain where they're at. And then have the whole miserable me story or play the victim in a problem that they created. You get what I'm saying? It's like, but yeah, that's bro.
it's
That can be another fucking
like I tell
episode, bro.
people. Like I tell people when they ask me personally, I don't. I was religious for a while. I used to participate in church. No longer because like you and many others, there was a lot of question without answers. So when you find yourself in a place that there's a bunch of answers and there's no concrete questions or no, or they might be questions because they're always going to find a question, but it's not what your soul is accepting as an answer. Then you got to move and look for another place
Right.
to learn. So what I tell people nowadays is that I don't believe in God because I'm 100% sure that God is real. So I'm certain that God
And you know
is
that
real. Like there's
right.
you cannot argue that with me personally. But I do choose my personal choice. I choose to believe in Jesus because to me is a character.
Right. He was someone that was real.
It was
He's someone
somebody
that I believe. I also
real.
believe. I
You
believe
understand?
in Jesus Christ. I believe in the story of a man who was a carpenter who went through what he went
You
through.
understand?
The only thing I don't believe in is that he died for our sins. I do
You
not believe
understand?
that.
So being that he was a character in a story without proof, you understand? There is no physical proof. Like you could
There is
tell me
none.
that tomorrow you could go, like you said, your mom is right there in the Bronx, and you could just take a flight and land in the Bronx,
And
and you're
no,
gonna
I
see
know
your
it's my mom.
mom.
I
You
know it's my
understand?
mom.
Jesus was a person that it was, whether it was a consciousness or it was a person for real, regardless of the point, I choose to believe in his story.
Well, from
In
the stories that was told on what he was teaching, which was unconditional love, no judgment, unity, right? I believe those stories for sure.
yes,
And I believe that somewhere along the line it's been misconstrued, right? For example, the same, people, religious people who abide by Jesus don't do exactly what Jesus was teaching, right? For example, most people love conditionally. That's not what Jesus was teaching. He was teaching unconditional love, meaning, Juan, you my brother. I love you. I love you for who you are, right? I'm not choosing to love you because you are the one version. No, I love you because of everything that comes with you. Doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, whatever. It doesn't matter. I love you for who you are. Not I love you because Juan, now you're straight and you weren't before. I'm just giving you an example because that's one of the biggest things when it comes to religious people. Not all, some, right? So unconditional love looks like that, right? No judgment. One of the religious people are the biggest judgmental people in the world. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not speaking to say that I'm talking about. I'm speaking from experience. I know people that are religious that are like that, and I know religious people that, and I know some religious people that are not like that. But again, if Jesus taught not to judge, I mean, it says it in the Bible. From the stories in the Bible, it says not to judge, right? Don't judge, right? If it says it and you're doing the opposite, you're already going against what you say you believe in. Because again, you're believing is no certainty. That's why it looks like that. That why, because if you knew that it was unconditional love, if you knew that it was unity, if you knew, then you will follow that. But because you believe it, you don't. Now, God Almighty, everything as a whole, love, grace, peace, right? These are things like you say yourself, you know this, right? That's why you walk how you live your life, right? I don't judge nobody. I unconditionally love everybody. Si a mí me mandan una vaina que esta persona, back in the days, yes, I used to be like, yo, what the fuck is this person doing? Now it's like, bro, that's what he's choosing to do. ¿Qué tú quieres que yo diga? What do you want me to say? That's what he's choosing to do. It's none of my business. It's none of my business.
but people don't have
Pero
that level of acceptance.
no, but the world is shifting to that. That's why all these
Yes,
things are coming up. That's why you see all
yes,
these things that are coming up, right? There's gonna be a lot of things. More things that are gonna come up that is gonna make people. It's gonna force people to wake up. It's gonna force them. But anyways, we could get lost, and we
yeah, yeah.
we could get lost talking about this. So let me ask you this, Wong, before I get into the other questions. Do you believe people reconnect? Do you believe people reconnect when they're meant to?
Of course, everybody has. I am certain that everybody has a let's say like a plan, a script already of your life, and even the
Mm-hmm.
same Bible says it. Like I know you before I knew you. Before I made
Mm-hmm.
you, I knew you. So that means that there's somebody that already knows everything that we're going to go through. And the point that it was, we met high school, we disconnected, and then
Mm-hmm.
we meet in another. That means that our story wasn't finished yet.
Nope.
But that in between wasn't needed. You
Exactly. So
understand?
that's
So
why I said
you
what I said
that
earlier when
is
you told me.
like if you go into the same thing, sorry to go back a little bit, but just to make the reference so people can put it together. If you go to the Bible, you see Jesus from 0 to 8. From 9 to 30, you don't see him. And then you see him from 30 to 33 when he dies. What
Hmm.
happened to the in between? Send our story. We met here. This Raul wasn't part of that story, that development of my life, and I wasn't part of yours. But now
Right.
that we both in these places, now they put us together and we reconnect, and now we
We're meant to.
continue.
Yep.
Same thing with
Yeah.
people
That's why.
that same people, same thing with because we both have people that we greatly love, like unconditionally. And today we don't have a relationship with those persons anymore for whatever S reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them was easy and like, oh, you're going this way. If I see you again, I love you. And then others was like broken, like, no, because from here on, he has to go to another place. So I'd rather
Yeah.
break it like this so you don't have that dread that you're going to eventually see him again or connect it or whatever because he's going to do his mission and now you got to go this
Right.
way.
Right.
So
Right.
you,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
That's why I
talking
asked.
about, but yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
That's why
So
I asked that question because I feel the same. I feel like when you know someone and there's life happens and you completely don't know about this person, don't see this person, like you're not even thinking about this person. Pero then pasan, like for us, pasó 11 years. We didn't see each other, talk to each other, know what was going on in each other's lives, none of that. To just reconnect the way we did is like, como tú dijiste, those 11 years, whatever happened between those 11 years, we weren't meant to be in each other's lives. We just wasn't. Now, what we were meant to be was who we were when we met after those 11 years again, and so forth, right? And a lot of times, people would take it as in, we're, como te digo, that disconnection, some people may take it as in, it's whatever. We don't talk. We just, they see it as a negative experience, o pueden crear que they did something to me and I don't talk to them anymore, or they did, or vice versa. Instead of seeing it, we were just not meant to be in each other's frequency at the moment. And if we're meant to reconnect again, it will happen. Obviously, we didn't think that when it happened. We're talking about it now because we are what we are today to even notice that. Like, holy shit. When you said it yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was like, oh shit, you right. I didn't even see it like that myself. Like, we were just not meant to. I wasn't meant to be a part of the version you were then, and you wasn't meant to be the part of version that I was then. But we were meant to be a part when we met 11 years later, and now still continuing to be in each other's lives like that. Yeah.
because if remember taking it back to high school, the mentality was different
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was
completely.
street
And
different.
when we reconnected, now we got a sy- synchronicity. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Synchronicity, even in the mentality, as to what we
Yeah.
listen to,
Mm-hmm.
what we want out of life, where we
How we're
going.
moving. Yep.
You
Yep.
understand? So from okay, we met from the block and from high school, and we chilled together, and everything was cool, and that's my guy, and he went that way, and I went this way, which happened with a lot of people. To finding each other in a room full of people with the same
In a
mindset,
unique
with the same
in a unique
mentality.
way.
You understand? Going the same way
Exactly.
is yeah,
It's crazy.
that's even scary. It's like
Yeah,
wow, like
yeah, it's
that's
crazy. It's crazy, but I would never question it. I would never
no, no,
question it.
no, no.
I would never question it. All right, so let's move into some deeper questions here. I got a lot. I might have to skip some. Ya estaba en an hour and a half already. Wow. So, okay, when did you first start questioning life? Like really questioning everything in your life?
I want to say that it happened when Not exactly when I went met my wife, but as I think that she was my savior in a way, because she's like the person that is the light. You know how the light in the tunnel is like over there? So she's always out there with the light, and I'm always chasing. So
Mm-hmm,
she,
mm-hmm.
in a way, the way that she thinks and the way that she is like, she reads my mind without reading my mind. Even the other day, we was laughing because we said something to each other at the same time, and we say the same thing. And like, what's up, bro? Like, get off my brain, bro. Like, get out of here. I'm paying
Yeah.
rent. Come on. So she's the
Okay.
person that, with her, I was able to voice my concern with religion. Like I was able to find somebody that I could be like, yo, this shit doesn't sound right. Like it doesn't inside of me. Like yeah, we going to church and we doing this and we doing that and but it doesn't sit right with me inside. And she was the only one that could be like, you know what? I'm with you. It doesn't. So when you find a person that you are able to be yourself and
Oh,
voice that out. And
that's
instead of looking at you weird and what the hell, let's go pray and let's go do 300 Ave Maria and do this and pray to God for Him to forgive you. She could be like, you know what? I understand what you're saying. That was like mind blowing. It was
yeah.
like I could actually say what, and
What
you
the
could
fuck?
be
You
like,
say it,
yeah,
bro. You
like
can
what
say it.
the fuck is this shit? And then
Yeah,
she could
bro.
be like, yo, I was thinking that same thing. Like, shit makes no sense. Why? We reading the Bible, we doing this and we doing that, and nothing makes sense. So she was like the person, of one of the person that is like, has been a unconditionally loving ear so that I could be able to just let stuff out and she'll receive it and give me some feedback that I could accept and just go and think about it.
Yeah. And the other questions that I had, you answered it in there as well. Um, I had the like what started to not make sense anymore, which was for you questioning religion and stuff like that. Um, this whole this whole journey you're in right now with your spiritual awakening, right? Questioning certain things in life that you've been used to seeing for years, your programmings, right? Did do you feel like your relationship play a role in that awakening? Your
Of
relationship
course,
with your wife?
of course,
Because for me, it definitely did.
it, it has been the pinnacle of everything.
For the
Because
same, the same for me.
the good thing is that you might agree, we were blessed with people that were able to go explore even before we had the courage to go explore.
Right,
So not
right.
everybody gets that. A lot of people got to go by themselves and go explore and really
Hmm.
go into a deep hole. But for you to have somebody, especially somebody that is right next to you and is able to love you and allow you to not only break all this facade, but also have the answer to some of the questions that you don't understand is amazing.
Right, right.
You understand?
For
It's,
me, for me, my relationship definitely played a role because I was never put in I was never put in a position where I had to experience rock bottom. Never. And that was when my wife had told me she wanted a divorce back in 2023. And I was like, "What?" Like for me see, there's going to be something in your life that is going to shake your world to decide, because at the end of the day it is a choice, where you start to question life You start to question the things and how you were brought up. You start to question yourself. You start to question your identity. You start to question the person that you with. You start to question everything. That's the start of it. And for me, it was that. My rock bottom was the opportunity for me to start start a different path in my life that has allowed me to see the world the way I do it, but it's also allowed me to become the man that I am today and still becoming. With a lot of things that still have to be worked being done because that never stops. But it's allowed me to be a better version of myself, which with more to go, obviously. But my relationship was definitely a part of that awakening. And for some people it can be a death, right? Somebody dies, breakup, like for me was divorce. It can be losing a job that you thought you would never lose, right? Like get fired, felt like you like things like that. Those things, life near death, life experiences, right? People that die for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and then they come back to life. All those things is what all those experiences is what can take place for you to start your awakening journey, right?
Mine,
But yeah,
mine
for
was
me,
a little bit different. Mine was the opposite. Mine was like when you find somebody that after you finish fucking up the biggest fuck up, and
hmm
that person still tells you, I choose you, that broke me down. Like
that's unconditional love right there,
you,
bro.
you understand? Like you can't ask for more, or there's no more sign from above of telling you. It's not even, you don't even see her anymore. You see source. It's like through her you
Yeah,
working and you showing
no,
me what is
for
unconditional
sure,
love.
for sure.
So if you love me that much, that means that I need to give back.
Yeah. What did that experience reveal to you about yourself?
The selfishness, or the resentment, or the pain, or the basically the biggest part that it reveal is the fear. How scared I've been all my life. Since I
Same for
was like
me,
I
bro.
like I mentioned, since I was a little kid and that happened, and the fear of losing my mom, the fear of losing my parents, my family, that fear of losing something, and now understanding that I lost a part of myself that I needed to
Right.
regain, and that started the whole.
Yeah, for me was I realized that I've been safe in a sense of living a safe life, not wanting to take big risks. Same thing, fear, faking it, being someone that I'm not. Um, blaming others instead of myself. Avoiding a lot. All those things came up for me when I started to go through that journey of awakening, and it's 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 tough, bro. It can look dark sometimes because all these things are coming up for you that you're like, what the fuck? And then even so, even relationships that you have, like friendships, start to be questioned also. Wanting to be around certain people starts to come up as well, and those are the things that people are afraid of. That's the identity I was talking about earlier. There's a part of you that you have to let go of, that people stay attached to, that they don't want to let go of, and it's like it's a must. That's the fear that majority of people have, is letting go of the identity, the programming, the way they were brought up, all of that. It's the fear of letting that, and then the fear of the unknown, who they're gonna become, right? And I feel like I'm in a space now that I feel like the unknown is beautiful. Like that's the beauty, the unknown. I'm not even scared of it no more. Where growing up, unknowing things, not knowing things, it's really scary. But it's like, bro, not knowing. Well, there's a knowing that in the future you're going to always be taken care of. But the process of
Yeah.
it, not knowing the steps, just knowing that you got to take the expired action, knowing that you got to be authentic and real, right? Knowing that you got to do what feels right to you, what's aligned. Those are all the process. But like, for example, I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. But what I can tell you is that when I wake up, I'm going to be aligned. I'm going to make sure that I'm being authentic. That's what I mean. So not knowing how tomorrow's going to look, aside from what I can control, is the majority, is the fear majority people have,
But
right?
not only that,
How?
having the certainty that even though you don't know and you're not 100% sure what's coming, you have the certainty that no matter what happens, it's gonna be
It's
okay.
gonna play. It's gonna play out to how it's supposed to, and it's gonna be okay. It's always gonna be in your favor. It's always gonna be done for you, not to you.
To you.
You know, you are certain about that, and it's always gonna work out. All right. So who is Juan today, and what does peace look like to Juan today? Who are you today, and what does peace look like for you?
That's a good question. And I was gonna start the podcast like this because remember when we was in Herbalife, when you used to hit the stage, most people used to say, "Oh, I asked permission to be myself." Like it was never
Mm-hmm,
ourselves. Like even back then, you was understanding that you was playing a role and you was in yourself.
You,
Then you needed
yeah,
permission to be you, which
right.
is further from the truth.
Crazy.
You should always be yourself. So I was gonna
Always.
be like permission to continue being ourselves and understanding that in this journey, there's not a destination. There is just a fulfillment of you becoming the person that you want to become. So me
Mm-hmm.
today is a work in progress towards a person that I and my little self, my little boy inside, could be proud of. That you could stand among any man in the whole world, and you could say, you know what, that is a man that is authentic and is real and is serious about what he wants and is committed to doing the work, whether if it's painful, whether if it's hard, and he could
Yeah.
get to whatever and go through whatever because he's certain that at the end of the day, everything is perfect. And I understand that everything is going to work out to my benefit. Like you said, for me,
Oh,
not to me. And that's I
always.
wake up every day with the same mentality. Thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to take this first breath. I allow you to choose for me what you need me to show me today so that I could continue the progress in becoming the person that you want me to become.
Right. Same for me. That's how I wake up, and the first thing I do is I show my gratitude for another day. I show my gratitude for everything that's taken care of already. You know, today, for allowing me to experience and see what I have today and what I'm going to receive today. Like it's not it's not rocket science to show gratitude, right? And there's different forms of connecting. There's not you don't only have to the way we grew up thinking it was the only way, which was getting on your knees and praying. It's not necessarily that. You connect with being yourself, with yourself. That's how you connect, right? And that's how you show gratitude. And I feel like that's what brings me the most peace is knowing how grateful I am for another day, another opportunity, like every single day, and not taking it for granted. Because life is still gonna play out. Things are still gonna come across your mind. Things are still gonna um, happen that are out of your control, right? But the things that you can control is where you continue to be true to yourself, and that is what I am the most grateful for. That I've been in this journey of learning how to act on what I can control, not what anybody else could. And all I can do is do my best and give my best by trying my best. That's it. can't do anything else. So that's what gives me the most, brings me the most peace, that I how I see the world and how grateful I am for it every single day. I don't take it for granted, man. I feel like back in the days, I'll say something like this, but I took it for granted because I was never being authentic. I was never being real. I was faking it and people pleasing, etc. And a lot of people may not be conscious of how much of a people pleaser they are, or how much they're performing for others. But once you are aware of it, then you're making choices, right? Because if you're aware of it and you're deciding to still do what you're doing, then you're choosing to do that, opposed to um uh, you're not going against what you're meant to be at, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I know I was performing a lot, a lot. I was never the authentic person you see now. Like,
Mm.
I'm gonna, for me right now, telling my biggest test has been my kids, always. Me worrying about how they're gonna feel if I tell them something, so I'll swallow it and don't say anything. Esa vaina me daba un dolor de garganta. My throat will start to tighten up and hurt, and that's my body telling me, bro, you gotta speak. Your body's always gonna tell you when you don't belong somewhere, and when you want to get
Something is
something
not
off your
right.
chest, you gotta say it. So I used to hold how I used to feel. For example, let's say I've told my daughter 1,000 times, stop leaving your plate there, take it and wash it right away, right? It got to a point where I'll be like, if I tell her this, I'm gonna feel bad, right? But then I'm also being fake to me because this is something that's bothering me. So there's a mirror. It's triggering me for a reason. But there is, I can't control, if I'm speaking my truth, I can't control how you feel because I know authentically I'm not trying to hurt you. It's not my intention. I'm just telling you something, right? So for a long time I was holding those emotions in, which I was just hurting myself because I was thinking about how my kid might feel, and me telling them or reminding them to do something, right? It was like overthinking basically.
Yeah.
But now being myself, being my authentic self, I can see that I can't control the emotion the person will have if I say something because I'm only speaking my truth. And that's what we're meant to do, is speak your truth. You can't think about how somebody's gonna feel because you're speaking your truth. It's the same thing that I said earlier. I'm not here to tell anybody that they're living wrong because they're religious or not. That's not. But my truth is I'm not a religious person. But that doesn't mean that just because you're a religious person, you're wrong. That doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean that because I'm not a religious person, I'm wrong. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that either. And I think that more and more people are starting to see that being authentic to yourself, choosing that for yourself, is the greatest peace you can give yourself.
Of course.
It's the greatest, the
And,
greatest.
and and like you said, like we are a mirror, and it's always a reflection. Same thing happened to me with my kids. Like I tell one of my daughters, do this, and because of my upbringing, when my mom or my dad used to say, "Do this," they expect you to jump and do it.
Right.
And so I'm telling that, waiting for the same response as if I'm my parents, if I'm my dad or my mom. So when I talked to her the other day, I was like, "Do this," and she didn't move. What came to me was like, "Yeah, but how many times somebody tells you to do stuff and you don't move and you sit down? So that's your mirror. She's doing what you doing. The only thing that for you there's no judgment because it's you, but you judging
Exactly.
her because you're telling her to do something for you and she's not moving fast enough."
Exactly.
So my correction is, okay, from now on, before I tell them to move, expect them to move, I gotta check myself every time somebody asks me to do something, including myself. How fast am I moving?
Mm.
You understand? So going back, it's little things like that that you start. like you said, your body is always gonna tell you everything. So if your body telling you, even if you're gonna cross the street and your body's like your stomach, like, oh, something is going on. Like your body's giving you a sign that you're not seeing.
Right.
So I agree 1,000% with you there that we have all the clues within.
For sure, we do. We do. We do. Now, okay, so getting to the end of it, um, I always have a question for the listeners, right? Based on what we've been speaking about, and the question is for those who are listening today, um, where in your life do you feel like you aren't being the real you? Where do you feel like you're performing? Where do you feel like you're pleasing people? Right? And when you ask yourself those questions, write them down and be honest with yourself. That's all that matters, that you're being honest with yourself. You're not answering these questions for anybody else but you. So where do you feel like you're performing? Where do you feel like you're pleasing people? Right? Where do you feel like you're not being authentically you? Right? Because there is a side of you that you do know that feels so good. That is really you. There's a side of you that's always questioning things or having that little nudge in your body. This is not it. So I want you to really go deep in those questions. Ask yourself that. And you guys can DM me. You guys can leave comments on YouTube, Spotify, Apple when it's up. You guys can share it if you want. I've had people that have shared and answering those questions before. So I'm all ears. I'm here for that. I'd love to see what people have to say when people answer the questions. If they want to share, obviously those platforms are public, so it will be seen. But still, at the end of the day, that's the listening question that's the question for the listeners. One more thing before we go, our brother. If someone right now feels lost, what will you tell them?
You gotta find silence. You gotta be able to sit down with yourself and just go to a place, find a place in your car, wherever. I done it in my car. I done it in my house. I have walked to the park. Find a place that you could be by yourself and just try to be as quiet as possible and let your brain just unload, and then you see what's coming towards you.
You know what's crazy? That's one of the first things I started to learn in this journey, and it was so hard, bro.
Yeah, because
It's not that easy. It's not that
it's
easy.
not like
It's not that easy.
and the more quiet you try to be, the more your brain is working because
Exactly.
it doesn't let you.
It's trying to go against what you're trying to figure
Of
out.
course, because it's uncomfortable when you sit there and
Yeah.
there's nothing and there's peace. When you
Yeah.
find
Yeah, you're
peace
right.
and you find that quietness, that's when you see yourself and you start
Right.
exploring that.
So, my brother Juan, man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for saying yes. It was an honor to have you on this. I can't wait for people to hear this episode. Bringing it back full circle. Same block, same upbringing, lost contact, found our way back, and still doing the work because the work never ends. Different versions of ourselves, but still the same foundation if you think about it, man. That's why I say our
Definitely.
upbringings will always be what molded us, but we make the choices to be who we are today from our experiences. And man, I feel blessed that you was able to get on, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to share one more last thing, go right ahead before I close out.
Nah, my pleasure, brother. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share with you. And this is, to me, this is a conversation between brothers. This is the brotherhood. So it's just vibing. It's just a conversation. It's like hopefully people out there can find themselves and take the opportunity to just listen, not hear. just listen what we're trying to say. Like we're not trying to offend nobody, or we're not trying to degrade any belief or thoughts or thinking that we are the way we are not perfect. We are work in progress, but there is more out there. And if you feel like us and you always questioning, there's always answers. You just got to go out there and look.
For
Just
sure.
like us, we keep seeking, we keep looking for, and that's life.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thank you for locking this with us today. And always remember, come for the truth and stay for the brotherhood.